Can you decide right now to see opportunity? It's there.
Yes.
It's right there.
I think it's so important for people to remember that they're the creators of their lives instead of the victim of their lives, right? So the victim is saying, I'm feeling this way because that person or that circumstance, or I don't have any money, is causing me to feel this way. That's my relationship with money. What that really means is I'm using my lack to reaffirm my dependency, my addiction, my conditioning. That's my relationship with money, is that I put my attention on money because I don't have it.
Richness isn't a function of money. Money's part of it. But it's, when I think of money, all money really is energy and movement. And we don't circulate money particularly well in this world or in this country. It gets accumulated. And when things get accumulated, energy stops moving.
Your subconscious mind, it's both genetic and environmental, that's controlling your behavior. It's because you're programmed to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And until you change the program, nothing's going to change.
It's you can wake up and you can decide that the world has scarcity and negativity and lack, and you will find evidence of that. Or you wake up and you decide that the world is abundant and there's positivity and there is so much opportunity around me, and my job is to just keep my eyes open for the rest of the day and not let, because your frequency, your energy is what you frequently see.
It's not about wealth, it's who you become.
Most people are just a little short of money, but you are born rich in potential.
That whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past, or how lofty your aims and hopes may be.
Having a new iPhone, having a new watch, having an increased bank account may give me peripheral satisfaction, but deep emotional meaning is usually not going to be there.
Whatever we can conceive and believe, we will achieve.
For most people, what they do is exterior driven. It's driven by what we think others think we should have. It's not what we think we should have.
We're allowing our environment to influence the way we feel and the way we think. Isn't that what victimization is? And the stronger the emotion we have to our lack, the more we put our attention on the fact that we don't have it, right?
Yeah.
And so then the person has forgotten that they're creating reality, because what they're creating is lack. And they're creating more of it.
If you let the outside world control you, you're toast. Because when anything goes wrong, it's in control.
If you think about people having the things they want in their life, when they create from lack and separation, it's the experience in three-dimensional reality that produces the emotion, and the emotion is saying, let's feel and experience this thing that you've been in lack and separation from, and that emotion then takes away the lack or separation. But you've worked really hard to get it, okay? Nothing wrong with that. Is there another way to do it?
Yes.
Okay, so the person who's living in lack is waiting for their wealth to feel abundant. They're waiting for their success to feel empowered. They're waiting for their healing to feel gratitude. They're waiting for their new relationship to feel love. They're waiting for their mystical experience to feel awe. That's the Newtonian model of reality, of cause and effect. Waiting for that event to happen to take away this separation or lack. Nothing wrong with it. It's the way most people create. But what we've discovered is actually something else. The moment you feel gratitude, your healing begins. The moment you feel worthy and abundant, you're generating wealth. The moment you're empowered, you are moving towards your success. The moment you're in love with yourself and you're in love with life, you'll create an equal. The moment you are in awe of life, you're going to have a mystical experience. And so that's causing an effect, right?
We have a poverty of meaning, particularly in the Western world, that is driven by rampant consumerism, thinking that we're going to replace us whole. And if people can stop and think about what's meaningful to them, why am I alive? What can I be doing that will bring inherent meaning to who I am and why I'm here? That makes a big difference.
We have a relationship with everything known in our environment. You have a relationship, a neurological network in your brain for your parents, for your cell phone, for your computer, where you live, where you've lived in the past, what you're going to do tomorrow. that for the most part, the brain is a reflection of everything that we know, right? So along with that is our relationship with money.
I told you that you and I and every person were blessed with the privilege of complete control over but one thing, and that is the exclusive right to take possession of our own minds and direct them to the attainment of whatever we desire in life. Applied faith is a mental attitude we must cultivate and maintain before we can take complete possession of our minds. Sound health, peace of mind, a labor of love of your own choice, freedom from fear and worry, a positive mental attitude, and material riches of your own choice and quantity. We are now, this very moment, standing in front of the gateway which can be opened only with the great master key to success. And I'm giving you the closest clue I have yet mentioned as to how you may take possession of this key. In order that you may condition your mind to embrace and use applied faith, you must understand that there are two ways in which you can use faith. You can put it into reverse gear and use it in a negative way by allowing your mind to dwell upon the circumstances and the things you do not want, such as poverty, ill health, failure, defeat. And this is precisely what the majority of people do, which explains why the majority of people go through life in misery and want. Or you can take possession of your mind and direct it to think of the 6 riches which came over with you in that sealed envelope. And you will attract these riches to bless and serve you all through your life. But man can rise above these fixed patterns by which lower forms of life live and establish his own pattern. This privilege is the only thing over which man has complete power of control and direction. And it is interesting to observe that the Creator never gives man any form of riches without sending along with it the means by which man may do whatever he pleases with those riches.
If you have an hour meditation where you're tuning into your abundant future, but then you're spending the other 15 hours a day in lack, don't expect anything to change. You defaulted. You're back to the old energy. And if you say it's that person or that circumstance or that bank account, I'm going to say you're back to the unconscious program of being a victim, right? So then let's go a step further. If your personality creates your personal reality, and it does, and your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel, then the present personality who's listening to this podcast has created the present personal reality called their life. Nothing big there. Which means if you want to change your personal reality, you're going to have to change your personality.
Right.
Nothing changes in your life until you change.
Spirit flows to and through us, and we can think the highest function that we're capable of, and we build an image in our mind. Then we have to be true to that image. We have to use our will to hold that picture on the screen of the mind, and we turn the image back over to Spirit, which is within us. Through the reciprocal law of Spirit, it gives it back to us in physical form. Now, this is truly getting into the spirit of the thing. That is what being inspired is all about. And all great work came about because someone was inspired to do it. All the great paintings, Rembrandt, Van Gogh, all of them, they were inspired to do the great work. We have to understand that whatever Rembrandt or Van Gogh used, we have available to us. We're God's highest form of creation. Spirit flows to and through us. It's our responsibility to decide what we're going to do with it.
If I had one piece of advice, and this was the last thing that I asked them to think about and to consider as they live their life, is not to be encumbered by what the world seems to be showing them. Listen to their heart. They know what they need to know in order to do and be what they need to do and be. They just need to quiet themselves in order to listen.
I think we've got an obligation to do great work. We're only here for a short time, not a long time. And we've got the faculties and the ability to do great work. I think we should.